My name is Napoleon Hill, and what I'm about to share with you has created more millionaires than luck, more fortunes than inheritance, and more success stories than education. It is not a theory. It is not a guess. It is a principle, simple, powerful, and proven. And it is the first step in every journey toward greatness. The men I studied, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Charles Schwab, they were not born into wealth. They were not unusually gifted, but they possessed something rare, something that made the impossible seem inevitable. They each had what I call burning desire. Now I want you to listen carefully, not casually, not like background noise, but with intent, with seriousness. Because if this principle gets inside of you, and I mean truly inside of you, nothing in your life will ever remain the same. You see, success doesn't begin with opportunity. It begins with intention, with a vision so strong it demands expression in the physical world. Burning desire is not a wish. It is not a hope. It is not someday. It is the refusal to accept any outcome other than the one you have decided is yours. It is backed by belief, fueled by persistence, and it is made real through action. When I sat across from Mr. Carnegie, a man who built an empire from nothing, he said to me, "Napoleon, every great fortune starts in the same place, the mind." And in that moment, I understood. The rich, the powerful, the great, they do not stumble into success. They think their way there. In the next several minutes, I will show you exactly how to develop this force within yourself. Not motivational fluff, not tricks or tactics, but a system, a formula you can use just as the greats did. So I ask you now, are you content to drift through life, hoping for a break? Or are you ready to build a fire within your soul so strong the universe has no choice but to respond? If you're still with me, then let us begin. Because desire, true, burning desire, is the starting point of all achievement. We will examine it, not with shallow understanding, but with depth. We will pull it apart, layer by layer, until you not only know it, but feel it burning inside you. You must understand this. Every man or woman who has ever achieved greatness, without exception, first had a vision. That vision began in the mind, and it lived there long before it showed up in reality. You may think of desire as a fleeting thing, like a mood or a moment of excitement, but burning desire is not that. It is a state of mind so intense, so persistent, that it refuses to be ignored. It does not whisper, it roars. And it is this roaring inner fire that transforms a man from ordinary to unstoppable. Now let me be precise. Burning desire is not merely wanting something. We all want more money. We all wish for success. But wishes are weak. Desire becomes burning when it reaches the level of obsession. When you no longer ask, "Is this possible?" but instead declare, "This is mine. I will have it, or I will perish trying." It is this quality that separates the great from the average. Andrew Carnegie once told me, "I had nothing, Hill, just a vision of what I intended to build. But I saw it so clearly in my mind that I began to act like it already existed." That is burning desire. When the mind is so convinced, so committed, that action becomes instinct. And hear me now. When that intensity of belief collides with definiteness of purpose, the world must yield. Circumstances bend, people appear, ideas come to you in the night, energy rises. You begin to move as if unseen hands are carrying you forward. This is not mysticism. It is the law of cause and effect, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, by whatever name you choose to give it. Desire is the match, belief is the flame, action is the fuel. And those who learn to tend that fire will, without fail, build a life of extraordinary achievement. You may be asking, can I really do this? Can I turn my hopes into reality? And I say this with certainty. Yes. If your desire is strong enough, if it burns hot enough, then you already possess the most critical element of success. Now I want to speak to you, not as a philosopher, but as a reporter. Because what I am telling you was not born in theory. It was learned at the feet of giants. Let me take you back. When I was a young man, I had the honor of sitting with Andrew Carnegie, steel magnate, industrialist, a man who had built an empire from absolute poverty. He had no formal education. He did not come from means. And yet, by the time I met him, he controlled more wealth than kings. I asked him, "Mr. Carnegie, what is the secret?" And he leaned forward in his chair, looked me square in the eye, and said, The secret, Mr. Hill, is this. I knew what I wanted. I wanted it with such intensity, such unwavering focus, that it had no choice but to come to me. He did not say it was talent. He did not say it was timing. He said it was desire, a desire so strong it became destiny. And he told me something else, that every man who ever rose to greatness had that same fire. And he challenged me to prove it, and so I did. For the next 20 years, I sat with the greatest minds of the era. Thomas Edison, who failed over 10,000 times to create a light bulb. Yet never once did he consider giving up. He told me, I never failed. I only discovered thousands of ways that wouldn't work. But I had a vision, and I refused to let it go. He had no blueprint, no mentor, no funding, but he had a burning desire to bring light to the world. And that desire would not let him sleep. When the world mocked him, he pressed on. When experiments exploded, he tried again. And at last, the world changed forever. Not because he was the smartest, but because his desire burned hotter than his obstacles. Now take Henry Ford, who revolutionized the automobile, not because he was an engineer, but because he refused to believe that the average man couldn't own a car. When his own advisors told him it was impossible to cast a single engine block as one piece, he didn't accept their answer. He said, keep trying. I want it. I demand it. Make it happen. And they did. Not because the science changed, but because Ford's will refused to bend. Over and over, I saw the same pattern. The most successful individuals were not the most gifted. They were not the most connected. But they possessed a certainty, a conviction, a hunger that turned dreams into plans and plans into reality. It was burning desire every time. They had learned how to concentrate their thoughts, channel their will, and persist without pause. And the universe, by law, had to respond. Desire is not a luxury of the elite. It is the tool of the self-made. Now that you understand the power of burning desire through the lives of great men, let us go deeper. Let us explore how it works, not just in action, but in thought. Because success, as I have come to understand it, is not just about what you do. It is about what you think, and how often and intensely you think it. The subconscious mind, your inner world, is the workshop of all achievement. It receives instructions from your conscious thoughts, and it obeys them without question. It does not reason. It does not judge. It simply accepts what you feed it, whether it leads to success or failure. Now here is where burning desire becomes the most potent tool you possess. A desire held continuously in the mind, backed by emotion and belief, begins to sink into the subconscious. And once it's there, it begins to work without your awareness. This is how a man begins to attract people, ideas, and opportunities. It is not magic. It is mind science. You've heard the phrase, whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. But the real power lies in repetition. Repetition is the key. You must think the thought again and again until it becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, it becomes your reality. The subconscious is like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant, fear or faith, wealth or poverty, will grow. You cannot plant corn and expect tomatoes. Likewise, you cannot fill your mind with doubt and expect riches. That is why I say this with urgency. Guard your thoughts, intensify your desire, and speak your goal aloud, daily. When a man repeats a purpose with feeling and belief, something happens. The mind begins to search for ways to fulfill it. Ideas appear, confidence increases, and the impossible begins to feel possible. This is not imagination. This is the very mechanism of human achievement. Now some will say, but Hill, how can I believe in something I cannot yet see? To that I say, you don't wait for belief to arrive. You build it, like a muscle. Every day that you repeat your desire, visualize your outcome, and act in alignment with it, your faith grows. And as your faith grows, so does your ability to perceive and receive the things you once thought were out of reach. This is why every man I studied had a clear and definite goal, and why they repeated it often. They trained their subconscious minds to believe it was already true, until the world caught up. Burning desire becomes powerful not because of its energy, but because of its focus. One purpose, one outcome, repeated without compromise. Let me be clear. The man who chases too many desires weakens them all. You must decide on one chief aim, one definite purpose, and devote your mind to it entirely. Let it occupy your thoughts when you wake. Let it shape your conversations. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Feel it in your bones until your mind believes it and your world begins to reflect it. This, my friend, is how desire becomes destiny. It is not a mystery. It is a system, one that has worked for every man who has applied it with consistency and faith. Now that you understand the law, let me show you how to use it. Desire alone is not enough. It must be directed, fed, and translated into action. Here is the exact formula I taught to those who went on to build empires. Simple in appearance, yet revolutionary in power. I urge you not to listen passively. Write these steps down, speak them, repeat them, because repetition is the handmaiden of mastery. Step 1, fix in your mind a definite goal. Not a vague dream, not a soft wish, a specific measurable outcome. Do not say, I want more money. Say, I will earn $100,000 by January 1st of next year. The mind cannot act on uncertainty. It must be given exact orders. This becomes your chief aim. You must own it, obsess over it, protect it. Burning desire begins with definiteness of purpose. Step 2, determine what you will give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. The universe operates on law, not luck. If you desire wealth, ask yourself, what value will I exchange? What service will I render? Write it down. Be honest. Be specific. If you offer real value, riches will follow. But desire without willingness to give is selfish fantasy. Step 3, establish a clear date. A goal without a deadline is a dream with no legs. Decide when your desire will become reality. If you say someday, your subconscious will never act. But if you say by June 1st, your mind begins to move in that direction. Deadlines force clarity, and clarity breeds momentum. Step 4, create a definite plan. You do not need to know every step at the start, but you must know the first one. Write your plan down, even if it feels incomplete. And this is critical. Begin immediately, even if you feel unprepared. Do not wait for perfect timing. It does not exist. Action breeds confidence, and confidence attracts opportunity. Step 5, write a personal statement. This is the key. It is not enough to think your desire, you must declare it. Here's the format I taught to millionaires in the making. By date, I will possess goal. In return, I will give what you'll give. I believe I will have this. I see it in my mind. I feel it in my heart. I will work every day with faith and persistence until I have it in my hands. Write this down in your own words. Read it twice daily, once in the morning, once at night, with emotion, with conviction, with faith. This trains your subconscious mind, and your subconscious, once trained, will move mountains to align your actions with your desire. Step 6, visualize it as already yours. Each night before sleep, see yourself already in possession of your goal. Smell it, touch it, hear the sounds around it. Speak as though it were already true. This mental rehearsal builds belief, and belief is the bridge between thought and reality. When you can feel it in your bones, the world will begin to shape itself around that belief. Now, some will say, this sounds too simple. To that I say, it is simple, but it is not easy, because it requires discipline, faith, and persistence. And most men are unwilling to give those things. But if you will do it, if you will follow this process with full belief and daily action, you will astonish yourself with what becomes possible. Desire is the match, belief is the flame, action is the fuel, and repetition is the wind that keeps the fire burning. Do not neglect these steps. They have worked for thousands before you, and they will work for you if you work them. Now that you know the method, let me warn you of the enemies that will try to stop you, because they will come. They always do. No sooner will you set a clear goal, speak it aloud, and move toward it, then the world will test your conviction. And these are the traps that destroy most men's dreams: indecision and procrastination. These are twin thieves. Indecision keeps you stuck. Procrastination convinces you there is still time. They will whisper, wait until it's clearer. You need more information. You're not quite ready. Let me be clear. You will never be fully ready. You must begin now with what you have, where you are. The man who waits for perfect timing dies poor. The influence of others. The minute you express your desire, someone will try to talk you out of it. They will project their fear onto you. They will call you unrealistic. They will say, be careful, be reasonable, take it slow. They mean well, but they are dangerous. Protect your desire like a flame in the wind. Expose it only to those who will fuel it, not extinguish it. Drifting. This is the fate of those who lack focus. They start strong but lose interest. They wander from goal to goal. They never finish. Burning desire cannot coexist with drifting. Set your target, lock it in, and refuse to turn aside until you reach it. The comfort trap. This may be the most subtle of all, because comfort feels good. It's safe. It's warm. It asks nothing of you, but it is the death of greatness. You must be willing to do hard things, to feel foolish, to be misunderstood, to keep going when every part of you wants to rest. Growth demands discomfort. The man who fears it remains average. So I say this with urgency. If you are serious about success, you must become serious about discipline. Burning desire will give you the fuel, but discipline builds the engine. And you must choose every day to tend the flame. Let others drift, let others delay. You are building something greater. Let me say it again, because repetition is mastery. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Not talent, not timing, not education, but a fire in the mind so strong it refuses to die. Success begins when you decide what you want, when you believe it is possible, and when you act as if it is already yours. That is burning desire. It is not enough to want. You must want it badly, so badly that nothing can pull you off course, so badly that you will rise early, stay late, and pay any price. Write your goal. Speak it aloud, see it in your mind, feel it in your body, and then move every day with purpose, precision, and persistence. The man who will not quit cannot be defeated. And if you live this way, you will one day wake up, not in the life you were given, but in the life you built. Because thought, backed by desire, driven by action, becomes reality. You've walked with me through this principle, and now you stand at the edge of something greater. You have in your possession a tool that has built empires, invented worlds, and lifted men from the gutter to greatness. It is not held by the lucky. It is not reserved for the chosen. It belongs to the committed. And now I ask you, what will you do with it? Will you let this moment pass, inspired but unchanged? Or will you rise, truly rise, by taking the first step toward the life that calls to you? You already have what it takes. The desire is there, or you would not be listening. Now you must give it shape, give it strength, give it movement. Write the goal, speak the goal, feel it, then walk in the direction of it every single day. You are not meant for mediocrity. You are not meant to drift. You are meant to decide and then build. And I promise you this, if your desire burns strong enough, if your belief holds steady, and if your actions match your vision, then nothing can stop you. This is the law. This is the way. And this is how men become great. Now go. The world is waiting for what only you can create. And it all begins with burning desire.